Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Want to hear some inside scoop? If your kids are as ready to go back to school as mine are, you gotta check out Kohl's. I got my daughters the cutest Sotox for under $18, JanSport backpacks for 25% off, and 30% off Levi's jeans for me. I even saved an extra 15% and picked up Kohl's cash. So, yeah, not sure who's more excited right now, me or the girls. Select styles, 15% offer ends August 15th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
NJ Amazing!
At NJM Insurance, we don't use jingles.
Why not?
Our insurance speaks for itself. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance.
No jingles or mascots!
Right. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
Get insurance now. Call us to
Hold
find...
up, no jingles at NJM Insurance.
Why not?
That's not our thing.
All insurance companies need a jingle.
Our insurance speaks for itself, so we don't need gimmicks. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer. Brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Welcome to Beer Nuts, episode 189. We're going to talk about some fruit beers to wrap up as we go into the last month of the summer. It's been a long summer, and we haven't done that many episodes, but we're happy to be back and happy to be joined by three other beer nuts. So we're going to go around the horn and introduce everybody. This is JR. I am in, just outside of Tucson, Arizona, and my last untapped check-in was a beer called Gin Ricky, the 2020 version of. It's a barley wine from Firestone Walker Brewing Company. I gave it a 4.3. And I enjoyed this in Shawnee, Kansas, at Barley's Kitchen and Tap. Great beer bar out there that had a great lineup and one of many great beers I enjoyed there. So we'll go ahead and go start out in Los Angeles. Welcome back, Steve V.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be back. Like I said, excited that we're back on the air. It's been a while. My last check-in this past weekend, I attended the annual OC Fair Brew Hee Haw and had a sampling of a lot of Orange County beers and some San Diego Way beers. But one of the highlights, I must say, was a sour fruited Berliner Weiss from Wild Barrel Brewing. It was their Weiss Nectarine Cherry. They have like a whole line of their Weiss beers. It was the best of the night. It was, like I said, I'm normally not a sour, but I think of late I've been enjoying them a lot. And this beer was, just fantastic. It was perfect. So if you can get your hands on one, you're down in San Diego Way. San Marcos is where the brewery's at. Try to get some of their stuff because it was really, really good.
Sounds fantastic. Let's head up to the Mitten, back to Michigan for welcome back, Greg Schmitty.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Greg here in Dearborn, Michigan. And I've been kind of drinking the theme all day today with these fruited beers that we're going to be reviewing today. And my last untapped check-in was from Southern Grist Brewing Company out of Nashville, Tennessee. It was their colossal Blackberry Hill fruited sour ale loaded with lactose and triple fruited with blackberry puree. It was a very delicious summer crusher.
Wow, another good one. And last but certainly not least, we have Dugout in Clawson, Michigan.
Yep. Good evening, everyone. This is Dugout. I'm in Clawson, Michigan. And my last untapped check-in was I.B. Yusuf from Fatheads Brewery out of Cleveland. And, boy, what a good one that one was. Outstanding, really. I had made a run down to Toledo, Ohio today to pick up a few essentials, and some of the beers were one of them. And I'll be reviewing one of the ones tonight, so I don't want to give that away just yet.
Nice.
Sounds good. Well, we're really happy to be back. It has been a long summer, a lot of people traveling, a lot of vacations, business travel, so forth. So apologize for not getting out more episodes, but everybody's busy. But we're really happy to be back now. And now with the fall coming around, I think we'll probably be able to crank out more episodes. So in light of that, let's invite everyone, as we always do, to please enjoy whatever you enjoy drinking, whether hopefully you have a fruit beer, but if not, whatever you're drinking is just fine with us. We're not a bunch of pretentious beer snobs. We just want to introduce more good people to more good beer. So that being said, I'm going to kick this off because I have not had a beer yet, unlike Greg, who got a head start. I'm going to crack open this beer. This is a beer from my favorite Arizona brewery, Tombstone Brewing Company. Tombstone. Everybody knows the movie, but they may not know what great beers. We did have several beers featured from Tombstone in the past, but this is one I have not tried yet. So I'm excited to try this. This is called Peaches and Cream Sour Ale. Keep cold, drink fresh, 5% ABV. Comes in a 16-ounce can. A little bit of nice can art with some peaches. So enough about what it looks like. Let's, we'll still tell you what the beer looks like. But I'm pouring this. Man, I can see there's some like a little bit of thick fruit. There's definitely fruit in this. I can smell it already. Oh, yeah. Nice, a nice effervescence to it. The head dissipates quickly, but it's kind of like a cloudy. It almost looks like, you can see that it's a peach colored. It certainly looks the part. Nice peach aroma. I can almost, there's peaches and cream. I'm not sure. Maybe there's some lactose in here or something, but it smells really good, and I can't wait to dive into it. So it's again, a peachy, it's murky, peachy, really does look like almost like peach nectar. So again, a great aroma, definitely some sweetness on there, perhaps lactose, I'm not sure. I'll have to look into this, but let's go ahead and take a sip. Oh, very, very nice. It's tart. It is a sour, but it's not overly tart. It's got that great peach flavor with a little bit of tartness. Not sure if there's lactose in this or not. I definitely, maybe that's part of the peaches and cream part of it. I'm going to read from the can. Our pastry sour is made with vanilla and lactose, in addition to nearly 2,000 pounds of fruit for the ultimate tart dessert experience. It's peaches and cream in a glass, and it really is. I could tell that. I guess it was the vanilla too that was accenting it and maybe taking a little bit of cut off the sour, the tartness of it. So you get that tartness, but then it takes the edge off by having that vanilla and sweetness from the lactose. So let's take another sip. Really nice mouthfeel, medium to full mouthfeel with the fruit in here. It's a little bit thick, which is nice, but it's a 5%, so it's not something you're going to be. You can crush this. Delightful for a hot summer day. We've got quite a bit of rain here in Arizona lately, which is kind of odd from here, but it's monsoon season. But whether it's a hot day or a rainy day, this is a winter, and I'm really enjoying it. So I wish I could share it with you all. A lot of fruit, very a medium to full mouthfeel. And I like the description that says it's good for dessert because it's got that fruitiness and the vanilla and the lactose, a little bit of sweetness. It does lend itself quite well to perhaps having after a meal. So great stuff again by Tombstone. Great job, Weedy and Matt, our friends at Tombstone. Another winner. So I guess let's go back to Los Angeles. Steve was supposed to go first, and I cut him off because I was so thirsty. So take it over, Steve.
No, I saw you had another Tombstone, so I figured you're going to start and end. So
you're ahead of me. Yes, yeah.
That was the logical way to go.
I'm kind of famous for having two beers when everyone else has one, but
actually, I have that other one you have on standby in my refrigerator too. So
nice. That's right. I forgot I sent you one.
Oh no, that one I picked up when I was in Phoenix.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I didn't send you one, but I'm glad you found it.
No, I picked. Yeah, their stuff was fantastic when I was there, so I had to bring some home.
All right. Well, tell us about your beer now.
Well, for tonight's, actually, I think tonight was probably one of the easiest ones that we could have searched for. It seems like a lot of our beers nowadays have some kind of fruit going in them, and with the sour ales and things like that, those are really coming up. So this was a really easy one. It just kind of, I think the difficult part was which one to choose. But this one caught my eye only because I don't think I've ever had a beer with pomegranate in it. So it's out of Creative Creature Brewing. They're a brewery down in El Cajon, down by San Diego. And the beer I chose is the Brew Pomerantz, and it's kind of named after one of the San Diego pitchers, Drew Pomerantz. Now, as a Dodger fan, it's probably not best for me to be drinking San Diego inspired beers, but when it comes to beer, I think everyone should be included. There's a lot of great breweries down in San Diego, so you can't be choosy when it comes to that. So description on this: it's a sour ale with pomegranate, raspberry, and lime, and it's a 5% ABV. It says drink cold and roll the can. And the description of it, it looks like one of those V8 fruit juices that has like all kind of fruits mixed into it. The scent, you get the raspberry. Raspberry is really strong in it, and I can probably get a little hint of that lime. The lime and the raspberry are really dominant at the end of it. It starts off, you can get the pomegranate. It has that pomegranate little tang to it, but the raspberry and lime really kick in at the end. It's sour, but not overbearing. It's not like it makes your mouth water, from too much of acidity. But have another drink. Really good, really smooth. Great little summer, especially down here in LA. I know JR is in Phoenix, so I know he's been feeling the heat, but it's been warm these past couple of weeks and here in LA. So this is a really great one, especially as the evening's kind of cooling off, and sit in front porch and enjoy one of these and watch the sun go down all the way. Looking at their lineup on their website, they love doing the fruit stuff. So if that's something that you are interested in, or you've already been drinking a lot of it and you're looking for somewhere new to go, look on their site. I guess I was really lucky to get this beer because I looked on the site and it was sold out, and I picked it up at my local beer warehouse, and they always have a lot of stuff in their fridge, and so I think I was lucky to get this and lucky to get a taste of it. And if you can find it or find any of their stuff, then I would highly suggest. Really good stuff.
Nice. Sounds delicious.
Sure does. And by the way, I'm in Tucson, not Phoenix, but only a couple hours difference.
Close enough.
Close enough. All right. Well, let's go to Michigan, I guess.
Who wants it? Doug? Me? Come on. Rock, paper, scissors. I'll do it. All right.
Go for it, Greg.
All right. So my beer for tonight comes from courtesy of Arvon Brewing Company out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. This was released just before they had a little sour series party, I guess, at the brew pub. It was their sour social, they called it. So this was about 11 days ago. This can is called Berries and Cream. It's a sour with raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, marshmallows, vanilla, and lactose. It's a 5% beer, and pretty cool looking can art here. It's the typical Arvon, kind of like a textured label wrapped around the can, and it's kind of got some cartoonish looking berries with little cream on the top of each one of them. They all seem like they're having a good old time. So poured into the glass here, and she is as purplish red color, just absolutely thick as can be. The head was nice, tight, compact bubbles, and as that receded, there is a nice rim of fruit puree just lining my glass right here. Just absolutely gorgeous. This is beautiful. This is right up my kind of alley. I love these kind of beers for this time of season. So on the smell here, just get lots and lots of red berries. All those berries listed. It's just this big old fruit cocktail of berries in here. You get a little of that marshmallow lactose sweetness in there. just absolutely just a gorgeous smelling beer, gorgeous looking beer. Hopefully it's a gorgeous tasting beer. So let's see, first sip here. Oh, that's very good. Great mouth coat. You get that like on the glass itself. They had that little fruit puree laying in the glass. You kind of get that, swirling around in your mouth there, and just more of the red raspberries and blueberries. Is just everything exploded in your mouth. It's delicious. It's refreshing. This was a series of 8 beers that they released, and every single one I've had is just chock full of fruit and absolute deliciousness. Arvon is doing some great beers, and certainly worth a check out to anybody that visits the great state of Michigan. And I highly recommend this kind of beer from them, and hopefully one day maybe you guys can get some as well. So
I've heard great things about Arvon, and that was a brewery that kind of came on the scene after I moved away. I'm gonna have to get my hands on some of their stuff. I've heard that they have a great reputation. I also really got to commend you on your description. The word that I couldn't come up with was fruit puree for the peach one I have, because it's just loaded with fruit puree, and that was a great descriptor. When you described your beer, I was just like dying to be able to try it, and I can't wait to see a picture of it, because it looks like it's going to be, an intense, fruity, delightful beer. So
absolutely, like a side note, I like my beers that can get me my daily fruit servings, and this definitely hits every note on it. So cheers to Arvon for matching my goals for the day. So.
Well, and some interesting things. I was just looking at their website. It looks like they self-deliver and are able to do self-delivery orders.
Yes. So yeah, that's a great thing. Yeah.
I mean, what an amazing thing. I mean, they're in Grand Rapids, and they'll deliver all the way over to Metro Detroit. You just got to catch them on their day and stuff like that. So, what a really cool thing. And I know I've had some before. I haven't delved into a whole lot of them. I might have had 1 or 2 from them, but everything I've had from them was really, really good.
Yes, agreed. I mean, they're definitely one of the better breweries now here in the state, and we certainly wish them the best, and keep going higher and stronger. So.
Well, I'm jealous because no Arvon to be had in Arizona.
Well, we don't have tubes down, so I guess
that's a trade-off, I guess.
We could call it Arvana-zona.
Arvana-zona. There you go.
Well, who knows? Maybe Steve and I will get up to Michigan for one of the brew festivals. We can talk about that a little bit later, but let's go ahead and give Doug out his opportunity to share a beer with us.
All right. So as I mentioned earlier, I made a run down to Ohio today just to pick up some essentials. And I do like to hop across the border and see what beers are available that we don't get. And it was really a nice haul today. There was some really nice stuff. A couple of beers I had I really liked. I wanted to pick something up for today. And this one sort of caught my eye. It's from Platform Brewing Company out of Cleveland. I've had some beers from them before. They seem to do a really good job with stuff. This beer is called Flip Side Up. It's an India Pale Ale with pineapple and cherries, so I'm guessing that it's a takeoff of Pineapple Upside Down Cake. And then as I looked on the label, it did say contains lactose, which it usually should say on the front, because people who are lactose intolerant don't appreciate that kind of labeling when you got to look all over the can to find it. Just a heads up there. Typically I have an issue with like loads and loads of lactose in beer. To me, it just sort of turns me off. But I'll get to that in a minute. This beer pours. It's got a nice gold color, but there's definitely some red hue from the cherries. Somewhat hazy probably from some of these fruit additions. And the nose is tons of pineapple. You get a small bit of cherry, but mainly pineapple on the nose. nice head on this. Give this a sip, and yeah, it's definitely an IPA. I mean, it's a lower on the IBU spectrum for an IPA at 37. It's 6.5%. So I think they're using the IPA, maybe a light IPA as a base style, and then use the fruit to kind of bring this up into fruition, as you might say. Sorry for the bad pun. This beer is delicious. I love the cherry. I like cherries a lot. This is more of the sweet cherry and not the tart cherry. So that's sort of more fitting with the description of a pineapple upside down cake. Pineapple in it's delicious. It's definitely there. It's in balance with everything else. There's a nice bitterness to it. And then let me get back to the lactose. The lactose in it is somewhat muted and also in balance, which for me, that's a huge plus. I just don't like having those with the overload of it. It just, to me, tastes, they sort of taste milky and artificial. I know it's milk sugar, but sometimes when you got too much of something in a beer, it just sort of puts you off. And I found that with quite a few beers with heavy lactose content. Anyways, they're not heavy lactose. It's a cool looking can. It's baby blue with a pineapple with a cherry on top. Very sort of 60s retro design look to the can. It's really cool. It comes in a 16-ounce can. Yeah, I would say, it's rather on the dry side for a fruit beer, which also is good because it's an IPA. An IPA shouldn't really be too sweet. It should have some bitterness to it, and this does, but the bitterness kind of reacts with the sweet in a really, really good way. I would really recommend this beer. I mean, I don't go for a lot of these styles like this, but this one's right up there, man. I think they've done a great job with this. Well done, platform.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm looking at this picture that you posted here, Doug Dustin, and yeah, that is pretty. That's a pretty looking beer. That is a cool looking can art there. I love the pineapple with the cherry on the top. That's fantastic. Who doesn't like a pineapple upside down cake? But
it's definitely some like late 60s hippie poster art type thing, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool beer.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I'm glad that we weren't all, we didn't all do sours, because this is an IPA, and I'm also glad you mentioned that, too much lactose is not a good thing. I'm also in that corner as a home brewer, and a lot of home brewers kind of eschew the use of lactose, but that, if you use it in the right quantities and in the right recipe, it can be a good helper. And it sounds like it for this particular beer, they didn't overdo it, and it enhances the beer. So definitely made, your description made me really want one again. So
yeah, JR, I think you'd really like this one. It's, I guess I had a couple bad experiences with some heavy lactose beers over the last couple months that have been had me sort of, do I want a 4-pack of this? Do I want a 6-pack of this? Because I had one and I was like, oh God, could they put any more lactose in this? It's almost like baby formula, and not that I drink a lot of baby formula, because I don't, but I'm just saying, there's so much milk sugar in this, and the sweetness, and it's not enjoyable to me. And different strokes for different folks. I mean, that's just me. I don't turn down a whole lot of styles, and I like to really look for the great in every style. It just seems to me, though, that some of the fruit beers right now are the Wild Wild West, where there's no defined style. And, as far as BJCP guidelines go. And so it's like what you do is what you do. And some of them are great, some of them not so great. I mean, so that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. I know there's a big movement on these smoothie, they're thick fruity beers that really don't have much beer in them. It's more fruit than beer. It's almost like, is this really beer? I know, that brewery in Richmond gets a lot of hype, the Answer, and they actually take Anderson Valley Gosa and infuse it with fruit. I mean, I've had their stuff, and it's not for me. And I know it's popular and it sells, and that's fine. We always say on the beginning of every show, we're not a bunch of snobs. Whatever you like is fine, but I also side with Doug is that's not really what I'm looking for, and I don't think any of the beers we've had tonight fall into that category. But there is a lot of those out there that are fruit bombs with. By the way, there's a little bit of beer in this too. Go to Dairy Queen for that.
Hey, Doug, how much did you pay for that can? Did you say?
Pardon?
Did you say how much you paid for that can down in Ohio?
I think it was $12 a 4-pack.
Shoot, that's not bad.
16 ounce.
Yeah, so that's a great price.
It was a really good price. Everything I bought today was really nicely priced. And it was all in that $11 to $12 range, and so I got 2 4-packs of cans and then a couple 6-packs of cans that were all in that same range. But and I'll give a shout out to our friends over at Fatheads. That IB Yusuf that I said was my last Untapped check-in was freaking amazing. I just what they're doing now with IPAs. I mean, they were never bad to begin with. They were always really good. But what they're doing now with IPAs, I think, is off the charts. It's really incredible stuff.
Yeah, it's another brewery that I miss access to, but there's plenty out here. And we get Bottle Logic here and some other stuff. But, yeah, there's 4 beers. I got one more, and then I think after that we can talk a little bit about home brewing. I'm going to wrap this up because sours and tart beers are really not my favorite styles typically, but I can tell you that I powered through that peaches and cream in record time. It was delicious. And gosh, I mean, I posted the picture for you guys, and we'll post it on Instagram, but you can just tell when you look at that, all the peaches in that, and it said right on the can, 2 tons of peaches in a batch. I mean, these guys, you're not drinking like synthetic stuff. That's a real peach. So I'm going to go to the next sour from Tombstone, my second one of the night, and can't wait to have this because it's also looking pretty darn good. This is called Triple Berry Cobbler Sour Ale, and I'll read the can before I even review it and describe it. Who made this pastry sour with vanilla? We made this pastry sour with vanilla and lactose, in addition to 500 pounds of raspberry, 500 pounds of blackberry, and 250 pounds of blueberry for the ultimate tart dessert experience. So very similar to the peaches and cream, only instead of cream they call it cobbler here, but there's also vanilla and lactose, and we were just kind of talking about, not using too much lactose, and I can vouch that, the beer I had, the peach beer, didn't have an overwhelming amount, just enough to enhance the beer. So I just poured this, and Greg, your description of your beer is very similar. It's got a nice. First of all, I just poured it, and the head on this thing is taking a long time to dissipate, and it's pink.
Yeah,
it's pink, from all the berry flavor, and it's like, you want to talk about purple, man. This is Minnesota Vikings purple. And it is not, you cannot see through it. It's not really like a fruit puree like you were describing. It's a little bit more clear than that. I love the effervescence of it and the way that the bubbles just, little by little trickle away on the pink head. But man, I can't wait to post a picture of this for you guys.
We're waiting.
And oh my gosh, man, the aroma on this thing. It's just berry heaven. It almost tastes like Captain Crunch berries on the aroma, or smells like that. But let's dive in. Yeah, I've had this before, and I remembered I loved it, and now I remember why. It's just unbelievable burst of berry. I mean, it's burst of berry. And again, normally I'm turned off by sours. They give me heartburn. I drank that whole 16-ounce peach beer, no trace of heartburn whatsoever, and that little bit of vanilla just taking the edge off of it, So the tart finish that you normally get on a sour, the lactose and the vanilla really calm that down quite a bit. So it starts tart and it ends with just a very subtle touch of vanilla sweetness. Maybe a little bit of graham cracker, from when I'm tasting. Let's taste some more. Yeah, I can taste. I know blueberry is one of the background ones, the raspberries and the blackberries. I taste the blueberry. I think probably, yeah. I mean, you can taste all three of those berries, and it's like a concert. It just they nailed it. I'm sure that they probably did their homework on what blend to use, and they've got equal parts raspberry and blackberry, and only half of the amount of the blueberry. But man, they nailed it. And gosh, it's really hard to find flaws in Tombstone's beers. Their brewers are great, and they got a brewery up in Phoenix now. I'm not sure. I believe these were brewed in Tombstone, probably by Weedy, who's the head brewer in Tombstone proper. And man, he knows what he's doing, because both of these are fantastic. And it sounds actually very similar to your beer, Greg, but I think yours might be a little bit thicker because you were describing it as a puree. The peach beer definitely fit the bill for puree. This maybe is not as thick, but certainly very flavorful.
Sounds great, but
triple berry cobbler. I mean, that just makes you want to buy a can of it.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Summer is here, and it's time to say goodbye to your old vacation and say hello to Camelback Resort. Stay at Camelback Lodge. The suites are all newly renovated. Splash at Aquatopia Indoor Water Park or Camel Beach Outdoor Water Park. Over 50 rides, slides, and attractions. Play at Camelback Mountain Adventures. Take the fun off-road with the new Switchback UTV tours. Just 90 minutes from New York in the Pocono Mountains. That's where we want to be this summer, at Camelback. Book your summer getaway today at CamelbackResort.com.
NJ Amazing!
At NJM Insurance, we don't use jingles.
Why not?
Our insurance speaks for itself. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance.
No jingles or mascots!
Right. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
NJ Amazing!
At NJM Insurance, we don't use jingles.
Why not?
Our insurance speaks for itself. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance.
No jingles or mascots!
Right. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
Experience gorgeous, lasting, high-quality hair color with Madison Reed. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code RADIO10. Hello, beautiful. I'm Amy Errett, founder of Madison Reed, a hair color company I named after my daughter. Experience gorgeous, lasting, high-quality hair color made with ingredients you could feel good about, with consistent results every time. It's easy to find your perfect shade. Book a complimentary video hair color consultation with a licensed colorist on madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code RADIO10. That's code RADIO10. Experience gorgeous, lasting, high-quality hair color with Madison Reed. Find your perfect shade at madison-reed.com and get 10% off plus free shipping on your first color kit. Use code RADIO10.
ChristopherMedia.net.
So that about does it for the beers we've had, but it's been
like
so
you
long
gain-
since we recorded.
You gain 5 pounds by looking at the can.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. That's probably don't need dinner tonight. I can, I had these two and pretty happy. I think I'm getting my liquid diet tonight. So let's throw it back to Dugout. We haven't had an episode in several weeks. I'm sure there's probably some updates on the home brewing scene, and I also have one, but I'd like to turn it over to Doug since I've been babbling long enough.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while, right? So I've got one poured in front of me, and don't know if this one was even ready on the last episode. I know we had its cousin. I mean, this is an old ale that I had brewed back in, I would say, maybe early November, using a recipe from Founders. And it was their recipe for Old Curmudgeon. And I had seen a lot of the comments, and I had heard some people that brewed it and said, blah, 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 don't waste your time. It's not on par. And, I took that as a challenge to think like, well, man, the malt looks great. The hops look great. Why would it not work out? And the first thing I did was attack the water profile and put in that Burton water profile to make it more of an English old ale. And then away I went. Now, the first batch of it I brewed, I had aged on red oak chips. And that was it. Just the oak chips. Well, I brewed a double batch of it. And the second batch I had put into a Motor City Gas bourbon barrel. This bourbon barrel, I think this was fourth use. But it was in that barrel a good 4 months. And so I'm like, well, I did some samples on it. I wasn't getting a whole lot of bourbon off it. Oh, and I also put some maple syrup, Michigan maple syrup, into the barrel too. So it is maple and bourbon.
Yeah.
So I had I pulled the samples, and I was like, man, this bourbon barrel is just past its prime, and I'm not getting much. But I had some of those same oak chips that I used in the initial batch that had been soaking in Woodford Reserve bourbon for, I'd say about that amount of time. I mean, probably 4 or 5 months those chips had been sitting in there, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. I was just waiting, and so I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to transfer this into the keg, and then I'm going to bourbon this up a little more. So I took those chips and let them soak in the keg for about a week and a half, and then went to try it. And I was like, whoa, I went too far,
No such thing as too far with that.
Oh, there is, though. There is.
I like
little
the boozy.
accidents.
I like it boozy.
It wasn't the booziness. It was sort of the bourbon and the oak were over the top.
Okay.
But so I put it into a keg, and this was months ago too. I mean, we're now into August now, right? So
Almost,
I decided to keg it off, and it sat on the keg for a while and pulled a few off of it. And, the first few samples were a little bit over the top on oak and bourbon, just raw flavor. And so I thought, well, this is going to age out, so I'll just let it sit. And so I bottled it off with the idea to let it sit. But there were varying degrees with inside of the keg. So if you pulled off the initial glasses off of it were sort of harsh and over the top. Then as you got to the middle of the keg, it started to mellow out. And that's the stuff I bottled off. And now what I have, there's still a little bit left in the keg, and I poured some off. And the rest of the keg is not, it's over the top, but it's not harsh like it was before. It's settled down, and there's still some, you get some of the dregs out of the keg and things like that. But as a bourbon barrel drinker, bourbon beer drinker, man, this stuff's where it's at right now. The stuff that's coming off the keg, but also the bottles. I bottled some off. I gave some to my nephew, and we tried a little bit around the horn of one of the bottles, and it just settled in right to where it needs to be, and the maple comes out nice. The bourbon's right where you want it, and it's just, I don't know, this may be one of the better beers I've ever brewed. So that's news one. News two, we had an incredible beer that went into the American Homebrewers Association Nationals, which was a gin barrel aged Golden Strong, and it made it actually to, I believe, the third round. But the way they did it this year was really confusing. It was, I don't want to go too much into detail. I didn't care for it, and I would never, ever enter a competition like this again. Number one, the cost was stupid. The amount of money to ship the beer in extreme conditions, really just everything about it said, screw this. This is stupid. And, and I got left with a really bad feeling after this one. And I know the beer scored really well, but they didn't do score sheets like they usually do for a competition. They decided that they were going to do it like they do the Great American Beer Fest. Well, homebrewing is not the Great American Beer Fest. It's people who want to know what their scores are and people that want to get feedback for the money they spent on a competition like this. And without that kind of feedback, it's sort of pointless. I mean, I'm not a pro brewer. I'm not entering my beer in the Great American Beer Festival. It's a homebrew competition. And I think a lot of people felt sort of the same way. I mean, I think, looking at the sheet, I can see that one judge really, really liked it. There was another judge who was making up descriptors because he didn't know what he was tasting and because he didn't know what a gin barrel, the essence of a gin barrel was supposed to bring to a beer. And that, to me, really bummed me out, too, because you're judging on a national stage and you're making up descriptors that don't exist. To me, that's party foul, man. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, pass it on, right? I mean, that's my honest opinion about it. So,
what competition was it?
Pardon?
What was the competition?
That was the American Homebrewers Association national competition,
Gotcha.
The big one. The big deal. And I would assume that from the one judge's scores, I was somewhere in the mid 40s, and where the other judge's scores, but he didn't fill out the sheet right either, because he checked things off that he wasn't supposed to. So it was really confusing. And I wrote them to ask for an explanation, and I never got one. And because of that, I wrote back again to say, look, man, for the amount of money that I put into this, you owe me an answer, and you couldn't read it either, which is such a pet peeve of mine. If you want to be a beer judge, learn to at least write legibly. It's not hard. We were taught this in school. Maybe you missed that day. I don't know. Maybe you missed that month. I don't know. But you're writing with a little too stupid little pencil. I mean, get a pen, or maybe just type out your notes afterwards if your writing's that bad. But if you pay that kind of money to enter a competition, it was $30 an entry, and then shipping for the 6 beers they required was $65 for
$100. I think
for a single entry for $100, you're owed an explanation on something.
Yeah.
I'm not
angry
because I didn't medal. I know the competition's tough, but I'm more than just beyond doing that, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to enter this, and then whatever crap they throw at you, you're supposed to just accept it. I think that's a hard no.
No, for the American Homebrewers Association to do that is pretty poor, because the whole objective is, give me some feedback so I can get better at what I do. If there's something that wasn't up to par, okay, then next time I brew, I can get better at what I'm doing. If I get no feedback for all the money and time I've invested in this, I understand your frustration there. And I can't believe the American Homebrewers Association, that's like, that's the governing body of homebrewing. It's not like, it's just this. That's why I asked you who this was. I mean, it's almost incredulous. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't know if COVID's to blame or probably not. But I know things aren't as normal still, and but I wouldn't blame you if you don't enter anything next year, and that's unfortunate.
No, if it's the same, no thanks. I'm done with it. I don't need the accolades that bad to have to pay $100 and 6 bottles of product. That's too much volume. They don't need that much. To me, that's just wasteful, and on so many levels. And I think the feedback was really solid along the lines of the way I was talking. I mean, I saw some stuff, and I'm not going to go into detail about some of the comments on the Instagram, but they, I'm being kind, really, about it from some of the stuff I read. And, also the other thing was so many people were left out of it because of the cost and the volume associated with. And, in our beer club, for example, we have several really great mead makers, but for them to turn in 6 bottles of a mead, it's over the top. It's not warranted. If you can't get it done in 3 bottles or less, forget you. I don't need it.
Well, I'm happy to say I think I already announced on the last show that we did that I got a bronze medal from my local homebrew club, and I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah,
perfectly happy with that. That was for my British bitter. I did brew another batch a couple weeks ago. I brewed an alt beer. It started out to be kind of a recipe that was for an Alaskan Amber clone, which I was interested to even find out that was technically an alt beer. But I kind of, dialed a few things back. The ABV was on the high side of the style guidelines, so I dialed it back a little bit and made it a little bit more of my own. But it's ready, it's fermented and ready to be kegged. So by the next episode, I'll be able to review that and let you know how I do. And we have another competition. August 7th is the entry deadline, so I should have it kegged and ready to go to submit for that. So we'll see how it goes. The Buffalo Club Homebrewers in Southern Arizona.
Cool. Send me a link to that when you get a chance.
Yeah, sure will.
We got another competition coming up here, which is the return of the Michigan Beer Cup for the Michigan Homebrewers Fest, and it's somewhat scaled down. You were only allowed 1 entry, and so I entered my one and only lager that I've brewed, which is my Czech Pilsner. I think it's outstanding. I've had some great feedback on it, so we'll see where that goes. It was a little bit hoppy at the start of things, and I brewed this over in the wintertime, so probably in January is when I brewed it. But now the hops are starting to fade a little bit, and it's lining up right where it needs to be. Color's beautiful. Everything about it's really good. So I just have this feeling, though, because John Golden entered. We brewed 2 beers, both with the same mash, but 2 different styles of lager. He brewed a Munich Helles, and I brewed a Czech Pilsner. He seems to think he's got the edge on me, but we know that guy likes to just talk until everybody else is blue in the ears, and it's just like, yeah, well, put up or shut up. It's time to judge. I got a feeling, though, even though we're in different categories, we're going to end up being lumped into the same category. Although this is another one of these competitions where they just seem to be getting more convoluted and confusing as time goes by. Apparently, medals are being awarded per scores as opposed to where you actually fall in line in the competition. So it's almost like participation trophies. Because if you score like in the 40s, you're getting a gold. If you score in this range, you're getting a silver. If you score in this range, you're getting a bronze. I don't know. But you know what? It was $10 to get in, and it took 2 bottles of beer. So God love you guys. I will not bash that whatsoever. I will not bash this competition in any way, shape, or form. everybody works hard in it. It should be a fun time out at Camp Agawam. If the sand fleas are less this year, that'd be great. But we'll see.
If it's anything like the mosquitoes lately, I doubt it.
Oh Jesus, yeah, this has been bad.
Is that the gathering where everybody camps out?
Yes, it is.
My gosh, I remember when I was living there, looking at that and thinking what a great event that would be to participate in. And unfortunately, I never acted on it and never got to attend it. But that sounds like so fantastic. I mean, can you imagine camping for a whole weekend and just you going from campsite to campsite and everybody's got homebrew and everybody's
all the clubs have their have these stands that are all set up throughout the whole time. So you've got jockey boxes of 12 beers.
And nobody's driving anywhere. Everybody can have a great time. And
yep.
God, what a great idea. And, Michigan in this time of year in the fall is so great. What a great event, man. I'm jealous. Yeah. I'm disappointed that I never took advantage of that before I moved away, but I can live vicariously through you, Doug.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it always falls on the same weekend as the Dream Cruise. And as somebody who's pretty much into the Dream Cruise and into classic cars, that creates a problem, And the problem is created when friends that are also into the Dream Cruise come up to visit, and I can't just say, "Oh, I got to go to this beer thing. I'll see you guys in 12 hours." And all wasted and stuff. So
beer camp sounds pretty cool.
Beer camp is really cool. I'd love that if it were on any other weekend. It'd be awesome.
Well, one final thought here, and I'm not sure if it was announced.
More, so don't.
Oh, never mind. I'll be quiet.
So one of the beers. Every year for the Michigan Brew Festival or for the Michigan Beer Cup, they do something called a gang beer, which is where several people, it has to be at least 3 people in your beer club, get together and brew a beer. And then they give you these weird, it's sort of like Chopped, you got to use this and this and this. So this year's, it's a lot easier this year than the one 2 years ago that nobody bothered to deal with because it was so gross. But this year I brewed put together a recipe. It was a Belgian triple, and it needed to have a fruit and a root. So the root we used was golden beets. So I got a Belgian triple with golden beets, Hudong plums, which are Asian plums. They've got sort of a kind of sweet and tangy element to them, very citrusy. And then I use the standard honey and bitter orange peel and coriander in it. And the preliminaries before it went into fermentation were just like, oh my God, this is so good. The beets were milder than like red beets, and they won't turn it red. They'll just turn it a deeper gold. And so they should just give it some earthy flavor, and then the Hudong plums should give it a little bit of citrus and a little bit of added sweetness to the honey. I had to use a blow-off tube in it because it just went nuts, and I haven't used a blow-off tube in a long time. So when I went downstairs and I saw like trube all over the place, I'm like, oh God. This is a mess. So that one's just about fermented. And then we got one more thing coming up, and that's this Saturday is the Bell's Homebrew Competition. And what Bell's does is they brew the wort for you, or they make the wort for you. You pick it up, and then you brew your beer, and then return the finished beer to them. You can do whatever the hell you want. But looking at past winners of the competitions is that you got to think outside of the box, and you got to be fun and creative. So I don't know, man. I may be doing another Hudong plum beer for Bell's, and then maybe adding some green tea to it instead of just sort of balance it out. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I love those kind of competitions. We used to do it for Big Brew Day.
Yeah.
Where everybody just brings we
bring a vessel and you pick it up, and then
Tom Yeager from the Downriver Brewers Guild had a 55-gallon system in his garage, so everybody'd take 5 gallons home with them, and everybody starts with the same exact liquid, and then you ferment it however you want, and you add whatever you want, and you get 11 completely different beers out of it. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, what I wanted to add, Doug, out is
sorry, I got long-winded there, but
no worries.
A lot going on since the last one. We don't do these so often. So.
That's what happens when you don't do episodes for 6-8 weeks at a time. I wanted to ask you about. I saw that the Michigan Brewers Guild is actually the beer festivals are back on, and I know that there's a couple. I think in Grand Rapids that are in August, and then there's I think the one in Eastern Market is back on original, and I think there's one in the UP. Can you shine some light on it for us? Because one of these days, Steve V and I are actually going to road trip up there and crash it with you guys.
Well, I believe so. They try to cram a bunch of them in. The Ypsilanti one was postponed. That would have been this weekend. That one was actually moved to Grand Rapids, to the ballpark, which is the site of the Winter Festival. And I believe that one is happening the second. Yeah, I think it's the second weekend in August when that one is. There's another one that's the weekend before Labor Day, which is the new one that they tried to put in last year for Traverse City, but it got canceled, but they kept the date for this year. So that one's the weekend before Labor Day. But the problem with that one is so many people are traveling right now and not flying. They're driving. They're renting everything there is to be rented. Just good luck trying to find any accommodations whatsoever. And who wants to go to a beer fest in Traverse City and have to drive home? That would suck.
Nobody.
I thought I heard. Hey, Doug, I thought I heard that one was canceled too.
Did they finally?
I thought I heard that. Yeah, I think they did.
I think that was the best thing because it just was poorly communicated. It was poorly planned out.
I think ticket sales were pretty low. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think anybody could find any place to stay, and within a reasonable cost, it would be like $400 or $500 a night for a hotel room.
Yeah, easily
in a junky hotel,
No, and that's everywhere. I had to
if
go
you
to.
could find one.
Yeah.
I had to go to Montana for a business trip, and I almost had to cancel the trip. I couldn't get a rental car. Hotel rooms were like $350 a night. I finally got a auto dealership rented me a car for $250 a day. It was astronomical. But I'm on the Michigan Brewers Guild website, and I do see the UP Fall Beer Festival is September 11th, and the Detroit Eastern Market one is October 23rd.
Correct.
So I'll have to get with Steve V and see maybe we can work one of those out.
I think
I'm kind of bummed because October 31st, Halloween, is the Eagles play in Detroit, but that's a week later than the Detroit Fall Beer Festival.
Well,
so
I'm going to place the crash if you need to, but I don't see that flying well with Jane.
No, I disagree. I think I can pull it off.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
I am going to the UP one. I've got tickets for. My friend John ended up buying a camper, and we've got a spot thanks to Uncle Pete. And God, Uncle Pete came through in the clutch because he sent me the thing and I sent it to John, and John went and looked, and there were two campsites left online, and he grabbed one. And he's like, "Whew, we just got in there."
Well, I've never been to that one. I could potentially go, but I don't know if you're maxed out on people that could go. I could fly to Detroit and maybe travel up there with you. If not, I'll focus on the Detroit one.
I think that's probably the best one, John, because I think we're going to be strapped as far as like, it's not a big camper. It's small. And,
Gotcha. Okay. That's all I need to know.
It's going to be its maiden voyage, and we're going to be driving from Detroit to Grand Rapids so that John's wife can babysit the dog, and then from there driving up to Marquette. So, which I hate this whole thing right now because it's like
that's all right, man.
Drive 3 hours to drive 12 hours almost. You know,
Well,
it's
God
like,
bless you, man.
we'll get there. It'll be great.
I'll look into
the
Eastern
brutal.
Market.
Isn't it
Eastern Market? Those go on sale on August 2. I went on and looked, and I was like, why can't I buy these? Why can't? And I'm like, oh, they're not. On
And there's
sale.
no Friday,
That's why.
right? It's only Saturday, right?
Aren't they limiting tickets too? I thought I'd seen that too. It's not as going to be a full capacity. I think it's going to be like I don't even know if it's going to be half, 50%. You know,
So August 2, the tickets go on sale. You're going to want to just jump right in there.
Actually, it says August 5th, 10 a.m.
Oh, August 5th. Okay.
Yep, I'm on the website. So
I know I set it up as an alert, but I was like ready to just buy them and then I couldn't. So
well, we'll see. We'll see if that can work out. I don't know. We'll have to take a look at the whole big picture, but I'm gonna consider it, especially if Steve V can make the trip. It'd be
that'd be great. I mean,
an epic beer nuts reunion. So stay tuned. That could be. Well, I was going to say that could be an episode, but we've already tried and failed. Anytime there's a beer festival involved, it's not viable to try to. We might get a few sound bites if we're lucky. That's another story for another day. All right. Any other final comments, anyone, or is it time to go to Mexico City?
No, I'm all good.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, I'm on my third Tombstone beer this time, the Oregon Lots Double IPA.
Nice.
So, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for your patience as we've been pretty much AWOL this summer. But again, with the fall weather coming, and I think we'll probably be able to crank out, 1 or 2 episodes a month from here on out, and look forward to, trying to. We're I think only 10, 11 episodes away from that magic 200. So we'll try to get that by the end of the year. But thanks for listening. Chris isn't here to tell you that all the multiple platforms you can find us on. But Spotify, Apple Music, all those great places you can download us. Spreaker, I think, is another one. That's the only ones I can remember, and I'm on my third beer, so it's time to head to Mexico. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. And as they say in old Mexico City, AMF.
Want to hear some inside scoop? If your kids are as ready to go back to school as mine are, you gotta check out Kohl's. I got my daughters the cutest Sotox for under $18, JanSport backpacks for 25% off, and 30% off Levi's jeans for me. I even saved an extra 15% and picked up Kohl's cash. So yeah, not sure who's more excited right now, me or the girls. Select styles, 50% off ends August 15th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store Kohl's.com for details.
NJ Amazing!
At NJM Insurance, we don't use jingles.
Why not?
Our insurance speaks for itself. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance.
No jingles or mascots!
Right. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
Get insurance now. Call us
Hold
to
up.
find...
No jingles at NJM Insurance.
Why not?
That's not our thing.
All insurance companies need a jingle.
Our insurance speaks for itself, so we don't need gimmicks. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. Visit NJM.com for a quote.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.